Everybody, this is my podcast Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Rocky the Dog Show, or you can find me at Joe Maffucci, Maffucci. No, Rocky the Dog Show, also on Facebook. Um, and I hope you enjoy this video. I got a funny story to tell you. Listen, being addicted to drugs is not funny. All right. But occasionally you get a funny story out of it. Years later, you could look back and laugh at yourself. So we're going to laugh at myself today. I'm going to get a laugh with you on what happened. Okay. I'm at a, a rehab called Daytop. It's a very strict rehab. It's in Far Rockaway, Queens. And I just got there. It's my first week. And they make you put your nose on the door for punishment, and wear signs around. I am a liar, and all this different kind of stuff. They break you down really, really bad. They feed you good. So this black guy kept telling on me and getting me in trouble. So I went up to him and I told him, if you tell on me again, I was a professional semi-pro fighter at the time and I was in really good shape. I said, listen, if you tell on me one more time, I'm going to knock you smooth unconscious. So he tells on me for that. And now I'm in more trouble. And so I got my nose to the wall and I'm standing with my nose on the wall. And then lunchtime comes. So the lunchtime, he gets his lunch. He sits down by this post, and I got my lunch. I sat it down on the table across from him, and then I just sucker shot him as hard as I could. Boom! And I caught him right underneath the ear. His head hit the post, and he got knocked out. And this guy, Jackie Lux, comes. He goes, "You killed him! You killed him!" I didn't kill him. I want my $20 out of the safe. I had $20 in the safe that they're not giving me. And then I had a carton of Newport cigarettes. That they gave me my carton of cigarettes, but they're like, the cops are on the way. I'd leave. I go, I'm not leaving until you give me my $20. So the cops come, arrest me. I don't get my $20. I'm in the back of the cop car, and we're on our way to jail. And I got all my clothes in the back seat of the cop car. So he pulls over by the L. The L is the subway that is in the Bronx, New York, and Lower Manhattan. It's above the subway car. Sorry, my hands are shaking. Above it's the box. So my right hand shakes a lot. Over the L. I was under the L, sorry. So the cop pulls over, and I think he's going to beat me up. And he tells me, "Get out, turn around." So I turn around, and he unhandcuffs me. He goes, "Was that a black guy you knocked out?" That's a racist cop, of course. And I said, "Yes." And he goes, "Well, now you can go free." I said, "Well, I'm going to hop the turnstile and then get arrested. You guys will be here a minute later arresting me." And he goes in his wallet and hands me $1. That's what the fare was back then, $1. Well, it was 90 cents. So I paid my fare. I got on the train. I go back to where my mom is at 241st Street and White Plains Road. That's right by Yonkers. And she won't let me come home. So I sell my cigarettes. I sell all my beautiful clothes. I had beautiful clothes that fit me really good. Beautiful sweaters that were really expensive, $150 sweaters. I sold everything for a hit, a crack, a pipe, and a lighter. So I did my hit, and now I need more crack. So I got to go rob somebody. So now I'm going to go down to Midtown Manhattan and rob somebody. So I hop the turnstile at 241st Street. I don't pay means I don't pay my fare. And I get on the train and I'm going down to Manhattan and I'm finding an area where I could rob somebody. So remember now it's beginning to get wintertime. It's fall. It's cold out and it's raining and you're getting soaking wet and it makes you really cold. So I'm under this pizza awning, looking across at this bar, deciding which person I'm going to rob that comes out of the bar. So this guy come out all by himself, and he whipped down for his umbrella, and he this big nice piece of watch was on his wrist. I said, okay, that's the guy I'm going to rob. So I robbed the guy for his watch. And then I tried to sell it to the pizzeria for $50. He almost bought it, but then he didn't. Then I went to other stores trying to sell it for $20. Then I went down to $10. I can't sell this watch. I went back even to the pizzeria that the guy was going to buy it for 50, and I told him just give me 10, and he still didn't buy it. So now I'm stuck with this watch. So Times Square was not tourist like it was when I was growing up. It was loaded with pornography shops, crack dealers, and murder. and it was, for a white person to go up there, it was you're taking your life in your hands. So I go up there thinking I'm going to trade this watch that I have for a hit of crack, and then I'll figure out something after that. And there's a dead body up there, and they have the body covered in a sheet, and then they have it all yellowed off. The tape yellowed off, so there's no crack dealers going on. Everybody's left because of this murder that happened. I heard it was a murder. Somebody got murdered. So yeah, they got the bodies on the ground, and I think there were one or two bodies, and I think it was two, and so I go down to this. Now I'm soaking wet. It's raining, and I go to the west side, this meat packing plant, and I get into this meat packing plant. It's friggin' freezing in there too. It's like a refrigerator, and I'm soaking wet. And I got this watch, and this guy in this forklift goes, and pulls up to me, and goes, "What do you want?" I said, "I'm trying to sell this watch for $5." He goes, "Let me see it." He puts it on his wrist. And he goes, "Okay, if it works for 5 minutes, I'll come back and give you the $5." So he takes off in his forklift. And I mean, you could see a mile down this plant. He took off. I couldn't find the guy. And I was like, oh man, I just got burned for my watch. But then he came back and he gave me his $5. So I went to go over to these projects called the Eden Wall projects. No white guys could go in there. If you're white, you're not getting out of there with your crack. You're going to get out of there with a beating, or barely get out of there with your life if you're lucky. So this black guy goes, "I could go in there and get two for $5, and I could give you one for $5." He goes, "You got no other choice but to trust me." And they were beating this other guy up in the middle of the street. Like 20 guys are beating this one guy up, and I was like, "Damn!" I was hiding by the bus stop. I didn't want to get seen by them. Then start jumping on me. And so the guy takes off. He comes back approximately 20 minutes later. I was about ready to leave, and he whistles. And he comes back and he hands me a hit of. It came in a vial. Crack came in a vial back then. So he hands me a vial of crack. Now I'm happy. I went behind this a bodega, which is like it would be a 7-Eleven, but it's not a 7-Eleven. It's a bodega, and they got another store, and then they had a restaurant on the corner, and behind that they had this telephone pole that was on the ground. So I sat on this pole. I couldn't get my lighter light, and it was too soaking wet. I'm too soaking wet. So I tried to go around to the store to get matches, and the guy says they're 5 cents. You got 5 cents? And I said no. He goes, well, then you're not getting matches. And I said, did anybody spare a nickel? Nobody would give me a nickel. So I went by where I left his store, and I was walking by this restaurant, and I seen this basket that had all these matches in it, because back then you could smoke in restaurants. And so I ran into and I grabbed a handful of matches. And the lady goes, "Oh, they're for customers only." I said, "I'm a non-paying customer." And I left, and I got this whole book of matches. I light it up. I go sit behind at the telephone pole in the back. I light the matches up, and it's beginning to become rush hour traffic now. The sun is coming up, and I've been up all night long on this journey of trying to sell this watch and robbing this guy and taking trains to the Bronx and Manhattan. So I said, man, I gotta enjoy this hit of crack. So I lit the whole book of matches up. I put the pipe to my mouth. I hit it. It was fake crack. So I dropped the pipe. It broke. I dropped the matches. I said I quit smoking crack, and I had enough. And see what God does? God will have you spin your wheels in sin till you come around and get no victory out of the sin either. So instead of me, robbing a guy, hey, coming up with a couple $100, God had me rob a guy that had no money, watch worth nothing, couldn't sell it for anything, and now that I got fake crack. So I went to go on the subway to go home to the Bronx, so hopefully I could talk my mom into taking me in again. It's wintertime, and the subway is crowded. So I put my hands behind my back, like to rest on the door. Put my hands back there and I'm just resting on the door. And I go, what the hell's on my hands? And I go, there was shit all over my hands, all over it, lumps of it. I sat in dog shit or human shit in that telephone pole. And I was like, oh, damn. So and it smelled bad and everyone's looking at me. So I take my pants off and I got a G string on, a red G string. Luckily, I was in good shape, and I had boxing boots and a red G string. And I threw my pants off at the next stop, and I'm riding in the Bronx on a G in a G string all the way up to the Bronx where my mom is, 241st Street, White Plains Road. I get up to 241st Street, White Plains Road. And, I call my mom, and I shouldn't have said this. This was evil. But I said, Mom, I'll burn your house down if you don't take me in. I swear I'll burn it to the ground. You better take me in. She goes, Where are you? I said, I'm by Peppino's Pizza. So I took the New York Post. I stole it, and I was holding it in front of my genitals so I don't look like a homo standing out there or a gay person. Sorry, I mean to say homo. Forgive me for that. I'm not meaning to demoralize gay people. I don't mean to either. And so, but it did seem a little, like I was gay walking around in a G-string. I mean, that's the only persons that would have been doing that back then. So I'm holding the newspaper up and I'm against the pizzeria and my mom pulls up. She rolls down the window and she goes, You're such a crackhead. And she took me in and I ended up being sober for a bunch of months and ended up boxing, doing good, and then I went back to drugs. But that's the story of being addicted to drugs. That's my weekly Monday, Wednesday, Friday podcast for you guys. I hope you enjoyed that story. It didn't have a good ending. It's not supposed to when you're on drugs, so I got what I deserved, right? All right, everybody. Have a great day. I'm going to podcast again Monday, Wednesday, Friday. By 4:30, the videos will be up. Please follow me. I will podcast about a lot of different content, not just drug stories. You'll like the content, you'll like the stories, you'll like to follow me. You'll like to follow me as a podcaster. I love podcasting. And take care, everybody. Have a great day. God bless and stay safe and peace be with you.